Hold on a second. Is that so offensive? So he stops. He starts to go back one way. Travis backs up alongside of him, 3 feet away, not pulling in front of him, not pulling behind him, just tries to talk to him. And Mr. Arbery takes off running down the street. And Travis watches him. There he goes. Doesn't take a gun out and shoot him in the back. Doesn't take a gun out and commit an aggravated assault. Doesn't take a gun and try to kill him. Doesn't try to hit him with his truck. He watches him. Watching. So he pulls up next to him. And he stops again. He says, hey, hold on a second. We just want to talk to you for a minute. Something's going on back there. We want to know what's going on. He's not saying to the guy, I don't know what's been going on in this neighborhood. To do that would do what? It would escalate the situation. So he just says, we want to know what's going on back there. Why is that guy pointing at you? Why is he doing that? Mr. Arbery stops. He looks him dead in the eyes, doesn't say a word, and Travis just says, we want you to stay right here. We're calling the cops. Call the cops. Call the cops. And Mr. Arbery bolts. Now, on the subject of police, Travis told you. Got in the car with my dad. I said, Dad, are the cops coming? Yeah, go this way, go this way. It's very clear. He says he asked his father about the cops being called. They call the cops all the time. This is not like it's a new thing for the McMichaels to call the police. Here, when they say call the cops, now he bolts. And it's on that bolting that Travis thinks this guy knows he's caught. He knows he's caught. Because he's bolting. He's looked at me. He won't talk to me. That's odd. I'm not talking to him in too aggressive of a way. And he bolts. And Travis stays right where he is. And he watches. He watches what happens between this truck. He has no clue who this black truck is. In terms of evidence, there is no evidence of any communication between these people. Any cooperation between these two people. No help, no assistant, no encouraging, nothing. So he sees this truck and he tells you it's one of a couple things. It's either the guy from up at 220, or it's his buddy, maybe trying to give him a lift, or now that I'm watching him, he's being very aggressive against this truck. He's watching it from 200 feet away, but he's thinking this guy's being really aggressive. There's something off with this guy. His dad says, Travis, go. Dad gets out of the car, climbs in the back of the truck with his rebuilt hip and his medical issues. Travis watches him get in, looks down the street, sees this, takes his gun off the floorboard, puts it up on the bench seat. His dad says, go, get down the street. Travis says, no, I'm not going back that way. Something's off with this guy. I'm not going into that. Well, if he wanted to go commit an aggravated assault, if he wanted to go do a false imprisonment, if he wanted to end the life of somebody, whether it's murder or felony murder, there's another chance. But he doesn't. He just watches. And then he says, I'm going to drive around. The judge is going to charge you on hijacking a motor vehicle. A person commits the crime of hijacking a motor vehicle in the second degree when such person obtains a motor vehicle from an individual without his or her consent. Travis is watching this gentleman try to get in the car in an aggressive way, and he thinks that does not look good. Whether he thinks to himself that's a hijacking or not, it doesn't look good. It looks dangerous. Travis also told you that when he came face to face with Mr. Arbery, even though he didn't speak, he looked very angry, he looked very upset, clenching his teeth, but not saying a word. These are the notes I took about it, right in front of you guys. Just wrote it down as he was talking. Stop, please stop. Mad, clenched teeth. It was very unexpected. What's going on? I want to talk to you. What's going on? Police are on the way. And then his dad says, go back. He says, I am not going back there. I'll go from Buford around to Holmes. And that's what he does. He drives around. Now, his dad's in the back of the truck. His dad is old and infirm. He's sitting on this bench in the back of the truck. Travis says he's going with his foot on the brake pretty much 3 or 4 miles an hour. Drives all the way around thinking, I'm not going to go back into this mess down here. I'll drive around. And when he drives around, you've now learned about this dog leg. That black line essentially is the dog leg. You can't see past it. Travis tells you the first thing he sees is Mr. Arbery doing a U-turn right there at the crest of that turn. What does he do? He watches. Does he drive at him? No. Does he try to tackle him? No. Does he put a shotgun at him? No. Does he yell at him? No. He's trying to continue to assess the situation in a reasonable, prudent fashion. Then he drives across the dogleg, comes all the way to the end of the street, and he sees Mr. Arbery again with this truck. Again, with this truck, tangled up with this truck. And what looks like, again, aggression at the truck. So Travis stops. He stops. He's thinking to himself, why is this guy not running through this open yard? This is Satilla right here. This is Holmes. This is where he sees the truck. What is with it that this guy's not going this way? And who is that truck? What is happening? Instead, they both run around Travis, back up around the dogleg. So Travis says, okay, I'm watching, I'm looking, I'm going to pull forward, stop in my car at the end of the street, and I'm just going to take up a spot right here. I'm going to take up a spot here. I know that he's currently not over here. I know he's not behind me. I can see my house right there. I can see up Satilla Drive, and I'm looking up homes. I'm just going to take up residence right here, and I'm going to watch to see what happens next. Because maybe this guy will come back, and we can stop him, or maybe he'll just keep running that way. Maybe he'll keep running that way, and I can tell the police, I'm pretty sure he's not this way, pretty sure he's not over here, he's not there, he's headed that way. What he doesn't know is that Mr. Arbery is turning around up on the other side of the dogleg, and this is where our video picks up with Roddy Bryan. By now, it should be clear. Travis doesn't even know where Roddy Bryan is. To say that Roddy Bryan's turn up there and to follow him back, Travis has no idea what's happening behind the blind side of that curve. And still doesn't know who this truck is and why this gentleman is interacting with it in the way that he is. But this is what's happening unbeknownst to Travis. Mr. Arbery turns around, and you get a quick glimpse of what's up the street, and it isn't Travis McMichael's truck. It isn't there. It's because it's all the way back down Holmes near Satilla. The state is going to play the recording that you've heard of Mr. Bryan turning, driving and revving and doing all this stuff. This will be the third interaction that Mr. Arbery will have coming at this truck. And Mr. Bryan is freaked out, to say the least. So freaked out, he drops his phone. This is where the phone drops and goes pitch black for about a minute. And in this time, you'll hear sounds. You'll hear engine noise. You'll hear turning. You'll hear shifting. You'll hear seat belts clanking. You'll hear the three-point turn eventually. He says, well, you know what? I'm going to head back that way. But what you don't hear on that phone, even after audio enhancement, even after any kind of working with audio specialists and digital specialists, you'll never, ever hear any yelling and no communication between Travis or Greg. The state wants you to think that it's at this moment. Greg McMichael drives by and says, I'm going to blow your GD head off. Well, if he said it, you'd have heard it. It'd been on that telephone, and they'd have played it for you. It ain't there. So, Roddy Bryan is all the way up. This blue mailbox down here, a little closer up picture, is where Mr. Arbery turns around. This is the demonstration video with Seacrest, and this is Mr. Bryan's actual video. This is how far up the road he is. This is the minute that he's been with his phone down on the floor. And in this minute, 2 times Mr. Arbery is going to run towards Travis. First time, turn around and go back. And the second time, he'll turn around and go back. And that's where that video will pick him up, on the second time. So the first time, Ahmaud Arbery comes across that dog leg, he's coming at Travis. At this moment, he's looking into Travis's eyes, and he's coming at him, and ultimately is going to get within 10 feet of him running while Travis is saying, stop, do not come any closer, stop right there, stop. No gun in his hand, just saying, stop, do not come any closer. Now at this moment, Travis has already had his experience, obviously, where he reached for the gun before, where he was acting bold. He's not going to forget that. He's not going to forget that he just saw what looked like attacking this truck, acting violent, being bold. And none of what he experienced that day will be forgotten. Trying to talk to him. We want to talk to you. What's going on? We've called the police. And noting that he's not acting right, something is off, and Dad saying going back there, and he said, no way, I'm not going back to that. But now, he's running at Travis. We have proof that he was on that truck because his palm print is right there, and it's consistent with a right thumbprint right there. That's just one piece of proof that his hands were on the door that supports Travis's belief that he was trying to get into that truck. And here he comes. And Travis finally takes a stand and says, do not come any closer to me. Ultimately, Travis, when he gets about 10 feet, reaches into the truck like this, and that's what causes Mr. Arbery to turn. And he runs all the way back. Travis testified, I ran to him for about 10 yards. I don't know, because my main concern is this guy's got a gun. I'm trying to avoid the whole situation from happening. So he watches him. There's two options here. There's watching him until the police arrive and giving directions, and there's also stopping him. But he's not going to chase him to stop him. But he is going to try to stop him and detain him, especially when he's coming at him. So he watches. Again, taking up, looking out, trying to be ready. And by the way, where are the police? Where are they? They should be here by now. That's what he says to his dad. Where the heck are the police? Did you call the police? No, I don't have my cell phone on me. It's like, what? Dad. God. Dials the number, gives it, listens, gives it to him. Again, it's what they do. They call the police. And now Ahmaud is coming back for the second time. Travis felt, and it was through rehabilitation on redirect examination that we learned during his interview with Nohilly, he was telling Nohilly the same things. There's something not there. This gentleman's not connecting it up. Something's not right. I'm telling him to quit, stop coming at me. I see where it's going. The second time around, I see where this is going. And by the way he was acting prior to, I don't know if he had a weapon on him. An aggravated assault, by the way, is a felony that can be committed by the use of fists. The threat of the use of a dangerous object or weapon. The threat of it. The intent to use your fist to create serious bodily injury. Fists are that weapon. And right now, as Ahmaud Arbery is running toward Travis McMichael, he could have a gun, and he definitely has fists. And he's coming straight at him after being told the first time to stop and turn around and didn't do it until Travis had to reach inside his car. That has now put him on alert. The second time that Mr. Arbery comes down the street, Travis says he gets 30 to 40 feet from him. He's afraid that he will be on him in a matter of seconds. He is afraid that he will beat him with his fist or whatever weapon he might have. And he's scared. And so he's done what he thinks the law allows him to do, which is to try to de-escalate that approach by showing force. Showing force necessary to prevent Travis himself or his father from getting beaten and possibly killed. And so he raises the gun. And he does it to defend himself, to protect himself. They call it the 21-foot rule. So he was a little early. He was at 30 to 40. But he did it because he was afraid. And what happens is it causes a reaction from Ahmaud. He changes from the left side of the road to the right, but then he starts coming back at Travis across the road again, and then gets even closer. He starts on the left, it causes him to change, but then he comes back again. Once the gun is down, he comes back again and changes to the left side of the road, and now we see him going back over toward the right. Now, Travis, this is his truck looking down on it. Travis is here, originally in the door jamb, but he told you, as Mr. Arbery came closer, he did this, it made him change direction. Now he's coming, he's wavering on the road, and so Travis is walking away. He's backing up. He's not charging at him. He's backing up to try to create space and distance. He has this gun here, and he is literally watching him. We see his foot plant right there, and Travis is thinking to himself, please turn, please turn, please turn. That's what he told y'all. That's what he told Nohilly. Please turn into this yard. Please don't come at me. I am backing up. I'm just trying to keep an eye to make sure please don't come at me. And as he comes around to the far side of the truck, he can't see him. He's backed up over here, but so he's stepped up over here to try to get a look at what's happening because he's afraid that Mr. Arbery is going to be down or finally go for the gun or seek cover or something. Please turn, please turn. Please go off into this yard. He never, ever, when he left his driveway that day, thought that things would end this way. Not ever. He told us, I'm on the left side of my truck. I'm waiting for him to get by. He told us, if he would have run by me, no problem. I was giving him the opportunity to run by me. Travis doesn't have a duty to retreat. He's allowed to stay where he thinks he is lawfully allowed to be and to try to defend himself and others. And then Ahmaud takes that turn. Not this turn, but this one. And you'll see his feet come, his elbow raises, and Travis is thinking, if this guy gets a hold of my shotgun, this is not going to end well. He's going to end up with the shotgun and kill me. Travis is thinking, my son. Ahmaud comes around, squares up, and you will see Travis's head is right there. His head never comes past that seat post. But you will see Ahmaud come across to Travis, and the first shot happens right over here. You can watch up top as he moves across. You see the white shirt moving across in between those two headrests, and you see Travis's head never comes beyond that front end of his truck. It's all up here with the t-shirt. Right here, his head is down. He's in full charge. First shot has already happened. You can see the same movement under the truck. If you'll look here, this is the shadow. It's kind of, eventually becomes kind of circular like a stop sign. But you'll see it moving in between these wheels right here. You see it? There it is, moving back, coming forward, coming all the way across. He's charging with his feet. Travis is trying to brace himself. Is there any question that Ahmaud Arbery had his hands on this firearm? Any question at all? Travis in his interview told you, I was under shock, I was under stress, I don't know. If he had his hand on the gun, I think he did.